This rich man acted poor to find his son's MOM, and the maid revealed a shocking truth. In the heart of a bustling city, a tale unfolded, one that twisted and turned like a dark shadow in the night. Rich beyond measure, Nathaniel Grant lived in a mansion that seemed to pierce the sky with its grandeur. His wealth was the talk of the town, houses, cars, even a private yacht. Yet, beneath the sparkle of jewels and designer suits lay a bitter void. His heart ached for the woman who vanished years ago, taking his son's mother with her. Nathaniel was known for his sharp business tactics, but nobody could have imagined he would stoop so low as to disguise himself as a common man to unravel the mystery of her disappearance. In an unusual twist, Nathaniel swapped his tailored suits for threadbare clothes, slinging a worn-out backpack over one shoulder. Somehow, the essence of desperation wrapped around him like a heavy cloak. He stepped into the grim alleyways, where the air was thick with the smell of burnt trash and regret. The colors of the graffiti on the walls became a desperate cry for help. People stared, widow faces washed in mystery. They knew he didn't belong there. Questions buzzed all around him, sharp as glass. What had turned this man into a street dweller? Was his search truly about love, or something darker? As he roamed the grittier parts of town, he heard whispers of a maid who held secrets of the past. She was reputed to be as enigmatic as the night, with eyes that bore the weight of untold stories. Could she hold the key to his lost love? The nervous energy in the air felt electric, tightening his chest. It hit him hard, the need to save his son from the shadows of a woman's choice. The streets felt alive, vibrant yet eerie, flickering streetlights casting strange shadows dancing on the pavement. Every interaction he had felt charged with a desperate urgency. Faces flashed in and out of memory, like echoes of people he thought he recognized. At the diner, a weathered waitress noticed him staring with an unsettling mix of determination and fear. "You look lost, hon," she said softly, concern knitting her brows. Just then, his heart raced. A memory flickered like an old movie reel. Was that the woman he once loved staring back at him through the waitress's eyes? Before we continue, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As Nathaniel finally tracked down the maid, his breathing hitched like an arrow drawn tight. Could she reveal the truth? Her voice was a whisper, secrets dripped like honey. You think you know the story, but it's far deeper than you can imagine. His heart thundered. What was this shocking truth she held? Nathaniel leaned closer, squeezing his eyes shut against the potential revelation, anxiety alighting in his stomach. The walls seemed to pulse with tension. What if the answer tore his life apart? And yet, the flicker of hope ignited a fierce resolve. Then came the question that hung in the air, sharp and unyielding: are you ready for what lies ahead? Nathaniel opened his eyes, allowing the maid's words to wash over him like a cold wave. The flickering light above cast ghostly shadows against her face. What do you know? He pressed, a trembling urgency in his voice. She shifted nervously, glancing around before leaning in closer, as if the very walls were listening. Your son isn't as far removed from the truth as you think, she started, her voice barely a whisper now. Just tell me. His impatience surged like a tidal wave, drowning his calm facade. I can't go back until I understand. Please. As she looked down the hallway, an expression of conflict crossed her face. Anxiety twined tightly in his chest. Years ago, when she left, she wasn't just running away. There were threats, Nathaniel. Dark forces feared she'd expose everything. His pulse quickened, the shadows around them seeming to come alive with dread. Expose what? What does that mean? The maid hesitated, her fingers fidgeting with the clasp of her apron. You need to understand, Nathaniel. This isn't just about love or loss. It's about secrets so deeply buried that they could ruin lives, even yours. In that moment, the weight of those words fell hard upon him. His thoughts raced. What could be so terrible, so destructive? Did this involve him? His family? The air grew dense with tension as he faced her, desperation growing like a burning ember in his chest. Was she afraid? His voice cracked at the end, filled with vulnerability. Was she scared of me? The maid shook her head slowly, her rich brown eyes studying him. No. She was protecting you and your son. With each passing second, the intensity of the moment stretched, twining around the two of them. Nathaniel took a deep breath, the wheels of his mind turning. Protecting me from what? They think she has information that could destroy everything you've built, she replied urgently, as if her life depended on his comprehension. But it's more than just her running. There are people looking for her. They're watching you right now. Panic flooded through him. Someone was watching. A shadow he could barely fathom loomed, shrouded in the edges of his world. What do I do? He managed, his voice now a rasp. You have to find her. Before they do. The maid's tone shifted, becoming resolute. You must uncover the truth and uncover it quickly. Trust no one, Nathaniel. Not even me. Adrenaline surged as he realized the enormity of her words. This was no longer a simple search for love, it had morphed into a high-stakes game of shadow and light. Every breath felt heavier with the burden of impending danger. As he turned to leave, the streetlight flickered above like a dying flame, illuminating an alley that spiraled into darkness. What if I can't find her? He asked, hesitating at the threshold of his disquiet, fear gripping him. Then she may vanish forever, the maid uttered, her gaze unwavering but brimming with concern. And when the truth surfaces, it won't just destroy the past, it'll obliterate your future. His heart lurched. A chilling feeling of dread settled in the pit of his stomach, leaving him grappling with the gravity of loss that loomed closer than ever. As he stepped into the night, the shadows deepened around him. What would he uncover on this dangerous pursuit? Would he be able to reach her in time, or would the shadows claim them both? Nathaniel plunged into the night, tension coiling tight within him like a rattlesnake ready to strike. Every shadow felt alive, whispering secret threats. He stepped cautiously, scanning the alley for a glimpse of the past he longed to reclaim. The air was thick with foreboding, a chill creeping along his spine. Thoughts of his wife, of their son, consumed him. What secrets had she carried? What dark forces were at play? He rushed around the corner, heart pounding like a war drum. An abandoned parking lot stretched out before him. The moonlight barely pierced the darkness, framing an old, rusted pickup truck parked haphazardly among weeds that clawed at its tires. Nathaniel squinted, straining to catch any flicker of movement. This wasn't just about a lost love story anymore, this was a rescue mission. Suddenly, the sound of a footstep ricocheted off the cracked pavement. He jerked around, his eyes locking onto a figure at the edge of the shadows. A man, tall and cloaked in darkness, shifted uneasily. Nathaniel's instincts screamed for him to hide. Who are you? Nathaniel called out, adrenaline lacing his words with authority. The man hesitated but then stepped closer, revealing a gaunt face with striking blue eyes. I know you're looking for her, he replied, voice low and gravelly. But you need to tread lightly. A deep unease settled in Nathaniel's gut. You know where she is? I know more than that, the man said, a slight smirk tugging at his lips. But trust is a rare commodity, Nathaniel. You stepping into this world without understanding what you're after is. He paused, letting the weight of his words hang in the night air. Dangerous. Nathaniel's breath hitched. Whatever it takes. Just tell me what you know. I have reason to believe she is still alive, the man finally revealed. But there are people hunting her. They want her silence. They want you to stay in the dark. Nathaniel felt a rush of hope bloom, only to be crushed by the man's next words. And if you don't play this right, you may never see her again. What do you mean? Nathaniel stepped forward, his heart racing. What do I have to do? It's not about you, it's about her, the man stated, his expression turning grave. She has what they want. Information that could turn the tables. And they will do anything to keep it buried. A sickening jolt shot through Nathaniel. What kind of information? Something your family has hidden for years. It's darker than you think. Secrets that could ruin lives, not just hers, yours too. Nathaniel staggered back as if struck. His mind reeled. The maid's warning, the man's ominous tone, what had his wife stumbled into? I need to find her. Help me. Me helping you doesn't come easy. The man's blue eyes glinted with mischief. If you want my help, there's a price. You need to prove you're willing to risk everything. Or else, it will be too late. Nathaniel clenched his fists. What do you want? The man grinned, his teeth white against the night. A little trust, Nathaniel. And the willingness to confront the darkness lurking in your past. Before Nathaniel could respond, the sound of sirens pierced the quiet, echoing ominously in the distance. Panic flooded through him. He had to act fast. Drop everything right now, the man ordered sharply. They're coming for you. Heart racing, Nathaniel faced the looming decision. Could he truly trust the man before him? Or would this lead him deeper into a perilous web of deceit? Time slipped away, and the reality of the moment crashed down like thunder. Would he gamble it all for the chance to find his wife? As he prepared to make a choice, he felt the weight of his past heavier than ever, shadows closing in tighter. What lay ahead could either deliver him to the truth he sought or destroy everything he held dear. Nathaniel felt a surge of adrenaline as the sirens drew closer, the wail slicing through the stillness like a knife. He glanced at the man with blue eyes, whose expression flickered from smug confidence to something more urgent. Now! The man shouted, urging him forward. The weight of a decision pressed heavily on his chest, but there wasn't time for hesitation. He dove behind the rusted truck, heart pounding in his throat. The dark figure slipped alongside him, moving with the ease of someone used to living in the shadows. Do you know who's after you? The man whispered as they crouched low, the cold metal of the truck biting into Nathaniel's skin. No, Nathaniel breathed, now aware of the danger of the unknown. But something tells me it's worse than I imagined. There's a reason they want her alive, the man replied. And you, too. She's been digging too deep into family history, and whoever is hunting her isn't forgiving. You've walked into a war, Nathaniel. The sirens grew louder, the red flashing lights beginning to punctuate the darkness like angry fireflies. Panic swelled in Nathaniel's gut. He couldn't let them take him. Not now. Not when he was so close to uncovering the truth. Why are you helping me? He asked, still keeping his voice low. The man chuckled softly, and it made the hair on the back of Nathaniel's neck stand up. Let's just say we share common interests. I've got my fair share of secrets too, and it's best they stay buried. Suddenly, bright beams of flashlight pierced through the darkness, washing across the parking lot. Nathaniel held his breath, the sound of feet crunching on gravel growing closer. The darkness buzzed around them, alive with movement. I need you to trust me, Nathaniel. Hold on to that rage and pain, the man murmured, gaze fixed ahead. It'll keep you sharp. How? Nathaniel rasped, his mind racing. Would playing along with this man mean he would lose everything if it all went south? Before he could process it, two figures appeared, illuminated under the harsh light. Patrol officers. They were asking questions, searching for answers, but Nathaniel knew it was only the beginning. Follow my lead, the man instructed. He stood up slowly, moving to walk away from their hiding place as if he had every right to be there. Nathaniel watched him for a moment, weighing his options, then forced himself to rise as well. They moved cautiously toward the edge of the light, dodging deeper into shadows, every step a gamble. "Hey, stop right there!" one of the officers called out, shifting his flashlight toward them. Panic seized Nathaniel's chest, but the man beside him didn't falter. He turned around and raised both hands slowly in a gesture of surrender, wearing a calm demeanor that confused Nathaniel. The second officer approached, eyes narrowing suspiciously. "You two don't look like you belong here. What are you doing?" "Hands where I can see them." "Looking for someone," the man said smoothly, a confident smirk on his face. Nathaniel felt his heart drop. What was this guy playing at? "Who?" the officer pressed, voice edged with authority. "Just a friend in trouble," he replied, tilting his head, as if the answer were obvious. "You wouldn't want to interfere, would you?" Nathaniel's pulse raced. Behind him, he heard the faint hiss of the approaching sirens. He couldn't risk being caught. He needed to find his wife before it was too late. The officer glanced at Nathaniel, who was trembling with anxiety, uncertain of what to do. With a glance at the man again, he realized he might have to fall in line, or risk losing everything to find the truth. Then came a shout from behind the officers, freezing Nathaniel in place. "There he is!" His heart sank. A rush of panic fueled his instincts, and in that moment, the shadows seemed to deepen. Would Nathaniel retreat with the stranger, or fight for the truth amid chaos? Nathaniel's breath caught in his throat. Shadows danced wildly as voices grew louder, echoing across the empty parking lot. The urgency in those words sent a chill down his spine. He was being hunted, and it felt like every lawyer in the city had been ordered to ensure his capture. "Come on, we have to move," the man with blue eyes insisted, grabbing Nathaniel's arm and pulling him back into the darkness. They ducked behind a stack of abandoned crates, the sound of footsteps drowning out their whispered conversation. The sirens wailed in the distance, a haunting reminder that time was not on their side. The world became a muddled haze of flashing lights and muffled commands. Nathaniel could hear the faint crackle of their radios, each transmission a reminder of his spiraling reality. "Who's after us?" Nathaniel asked, voice strained. Anxiety twisted in his stomach like a snake. "More than we know," the man replied, his expression steely and resolute. "But you need to trust me. Those officers think they're in control, but they're merely pawns too." Nathaniel glanced back toward the officers still searching the area. "What do you mean?" "It's simple. We can't let ourselves get caught here. There's something bigger going on, something that stretches beyond our understanding." Before Nathaniel could respond, a shout pierced the air, more frantic than before. "We have to split up. They're getting closer." The word struck Nathaniel like a bolt of lightning. Splitting up? That sounded like a death warrant. But there was no time to argue, no time to process the overwhelming fear coursing through him. "Take the west side of the lot. I'll lead them away," the man instructed, barely glancing at Nathaniel as he pushed him in the opposite direction. "And don't look back." Nathaniel's heart hammered in his chest as he sprinted away, the weight of dread riding shoulders. The world blurred, and all he could hear were his own footsteps and the distant clamor of the officers, growing fainter. Each step was a leap of faith that this stranger wouldn't abandon him. He ran until he found refuge behind the crumbling wall of an old storage unit, the bricks rough and unforgiving against his palms. He listened, breathless, for any sign of movement behind him. Silence answered. In the stillness, Nathaniel's mind began to race. What did the man know? And more importantly, what had his wife discovered that made her a target? He couldn't fathom the truth behind it, but if she was in danger, his heart ached with the weight of his responsibility to find her. The crunch of gravel jolted him from his thoughts. A figure emerged from the shadows. It was the man again, panting but unscathed. Relief flooded through Nathaniel, but it was short-lived as he noticed the urgency etched on the blue-eyed man's face. "They're regrouping, and there's no time," he hissed. "We have to get out of here now. I know a safe place." "Safe?" Nathaniel shook his head, doubt clouding his judgment. How could he trust this stranger with his life? "Yes, safe. But you have to choose now. The next sound you hear might be that of your freedom or your doom." As Nathaniel grappled with the tension of the moment, the distant sound of sirens crescendoed once more. It filled the air like an omen, signaling that they were running out of time. "Okay," he finally acquiesced, steeling himself. "Lead the way." The man beckoned him forward, the darkness enveloping them like a shroud, hiding their turmoil from the world. They moved quickly, adrenaline propelling them forward, each step heavy with unspoken words. And as they dashed down a narrow alley, Nathaniel felt a presence lurking in the shadows. A promise of danger that loomed close, clinging to him like the night itself. A flicker of doubt crossed Nathaniel's mind. Was he running into the jaws of the beast? Would he ever find his wife? Suddenly, without warning, a gunshot rang out, shattering the night's stillness. What had he gotten himself into? Nathaniel froze at the sound, heart pounding at a furious rhythm, like a hammer striking metal. That shot echoed long after it had ended, saturating the air around him with dread. He instinctively pressed back against the wall, as if the crumbling bricks could offer him some semblance of protection. "Keep moving." The urgency in the blue-eyed man's voice sliced through his fear. Nathaniel's legs felt like lead, but he pushed himself forward, adrenaline igniting a fire in his veins. They navigated through the dark alley, shadows stretching strangely, almost reaching out. Nathaniel couldn't help but glance over his shoulder, an irrational hope that they hadn't noticed him. But those footsteps, quick and frantic, thudded behind them, and Nathaniel's stomach knotted tighter. "Where is this safe place?" he asked, trying to keep his voice steady despite the terror pooling in his chest. "A few blocks away," the man replied, urgency accentuating each word. "A friend has a hideout, she can explain everything. Time is running out." The air was thick with tension, but Nathaniel couldn't shake the growing panic shrouding his thoughts. How could he put his trust in this man when everything felt so uncertain? Images of his wife, gone and in danger, invaded his mind. Was she safe? Did those pursuing him even know about her? They veered into another alley, and Nathaniel's breath labored in the damp air. The dim light from a flickering lamp cast ominous shadows that danced along the walls like spirits on the hunt. Another shot fired a chilling reminder that they were still being pursued. "Get down!" the blue-eyed man shouted, pulling Nathaniel behind a dumpster. They crouched low, breaths shallow, hearts racing in sync. The sounds of the chase faded momentarily, the world feeling strangely silent. "What do they want?" Nathaniel whispered, barely able to hold back the tremor in his voice. "The truth," the man said, eyes scanning the alley as if looking for someone. "Your wife found something big. Something that would unravel more than just your lives." The words hit Nathaniel like a punch to the gut. His mind spun with questions. What could be so significant that it warranted a hunt? How deep did this rabbit hole go? He felt a growing despair wash over him as the layers of his reality began to peel away. Just then, the distant sounds of laughter broke through the tension, slicing through the night like a knife. Nathaniel peered around the dumpster. A group of figures strolled down the opposite end of the alley, their voices echoing in mocking tones, completely unaware of the turmoil lurking behind the shadows. "Now's our chance," the blue-eyed man said urgently, gripping Nathaniel's arm. "We go on 3-1-2." Suddenly, from the corner of his eye, Nathaniel caught sight of movement. A masked figure emerged, gun aimed directly at them. His heart sank, realization dawning with brutal clarity. The pursuers were closer than he'd feared. "Get back!" Nathaniel yelled, shoving his companion as he instinctively pushed forward, adrenaline fueling every fiber of his being. His heart raced as he lunged for the figure, desperation overwhelming reason. The shot fired again, ringing out like a death knell. Nathaniel's world tilted, and he collided with the masked figure, grappling for the gun. A cold sweat broke out on his skin. Had he just put them both in mortal danger? With a fierce struggle, the two men wrestled. The alley filled with the sounds of a desperate scuffle, grunts, shouts, and the chaotic jangle of metal against metal. Nathaniel's mind raced even faster than his heart. What if he couldn't overcome this threat? What if the truth never came to light? And then, just as he began to find his footing in the fray, another shot rang out, silencing everything around them. What had he awakened? The deafening silence that followed the gunshot wrapped around Nathaniel like a dense fog, thick and suffocating. In that moment, time stood still. He and the masked man froze, both grappling for breath in the stillness. The world seemed to hold its breath as he felt a jarring push, his hands instinctively tightening around the weapon. In the dim light, Nathaniel caught a glimpse of his opponent's eyes, wide with something resembling fear. It struck him, a flash of insight that disarmed his panic. This man was just as terrified, caught in a web he never wanted to be part of. The realization made Nathaniel hesitate, momentarily lowering his guard. "Stop," Nathaniel gasped, his voice hoarse. "We don't have to do this." The masked man hesitated, confusion crossing his features. But before Nathaniel could grasp this fragile truce, the figure lunged forward, desperate and wild. They tumbled to the ground, grappling for dominance. Nathaniel rolled, using every ounce of strength to pin the man's arm to the concrete. Breathless, the combatants froze again. They stared into each other's eyes, a shared recognition of the hell they were both caught in. In that split second, Nathaniel heard footsteps approaching, heavier, more deliberate. His gut tightened. More pursuers were arriving. "Get up!" the blue-eyed man shouted, closing the distance. His expression was grave, eyes darting between Nathaniel and the masked figure pinioned beneath him. Without thinking, Nathaniel released his hold, scrambling back to his feet just as the blue-eyed man pulled the masked figure away, shoving him aside. The man in black scrambled to his feet, as the three men drew uncertainly closer to one another. "Why are you chasing us?" Nathaniel demanded, squaring his shoulders as he faced the masked figure again. His heart thundered, adrenaline surging through him like a tidal wave. "You don't know what you have." The masked man's voice trembled, each word tinged with desperation. "You have no clue how deep this goes." With that sudden declaration, a scuttling of feet echoed off the walls, intensifying the sense of urgency. They had no time for revelations. Nathaniel glanced at the blue-eyed man, his eyes were alight with a mixture of worry and determination. "We have to move. Now." But Nathaniel's mind whirled with possibilities. "Wait. What do you mean by how deep this goes? What's the truth?" Before the masked man could respond, gunshots erupted nearby. The barrage of noise rattled Nathaniel to his very core. Shadows darted across the alleyway, dangerously close, and they were more than just distant pursuers now. The chaos was unfolding. "Run!" the blue-eyed man yelled, his voice cutting through the confusion like a beacon. Instinct kicked in. Nathaniel bolted, adrenaline fueling his flight. They raced down the alley, feet pounding against the pavement with ragged urgency as the sounds of chaos reverberated around them. Shouts, gunfire, and an overwhelming sense of impending doom. The blue-eyed man led the way, guiding Nathaniel through twists and turns, but the nagging feeling in the pit of his stomach wouldn't let up. Was he leaving something behind? Someone? The truth teased at the back of his mind, eager to break free. They emerged onto a street with dim street lamps shining like stars lost in darkness. Everything felt surreal and hyperreal at once. Nathaniel glanced over his shoulder, half expecting to see shadows emerging from the darkness. Clarity sliced through his dread. He couldn't leave this unanswered. Not now. Not when his wife's life hung in the balance. "Nathaniel!" The blue-eyed man called, pulling him back to reality. We need to find my friend. She'll know where to go next. Just then, at the edge of the street, a figure stood. Cloaked in mystery, she seemed out of place. Her eyes locked onto Nathaniel S., and his breath caught in his throat. What lay in store when they reached her? The answer he craved was tantalizingly close, but so was danger. As the figure stepped forward, everything shifted again. A new threat? A new ally? What shocking truth was about to unfold? The figure stepped closer, revealing a face lit by the dim streetlight. Nathaniel's heart raced. Something about her was familiar, yet his mind couldn't quite place it. Was she a stranger? An ally? He didn't have time to figure it out, but he felt a magnetic pull towards her. Who are you? He demanded, his voice tinged with urgency. My name is Lydia, she replied, her voice steady despite the chaos swirling around them. And I know why they're after you. Lydia's gaze flicked to the blue-eyed man, who stood on edge, fists clenched. You don't know what you're dealing with, she warned, her words heavy with meaning. You think you're just a pawn in someone else's game. But they will stop at nothing to harness what you carry. Nathaniel felt a chill travel down his spine. What did she mean by what you carry? His mind raced with thoughts of his wife, of their life together. Could this mess be connected? Get to the point. The blue-eyed man urged, his voice low, a hint of desperation seeping through. Lydia hesitated for a moment, her eyes widening slightly. The package you're searching for, it's not just a thing. It's power. It can change everything. She bit her lip, glancing behind her as if sensing danger. And there are people who will kill for it. Nathaniel's breath hitched. Power? He felt like a deer caught in the headlights, the weight of her words pressing down like a boulder. But why me? What do I have to do with any of this? Because, she said, her voice dropping to a whisper, your wife is the key. Time stopped again. Nathaniel's heart thundered in his chest as he fought to comprehend her revelation. What do you mean? What does she have to do with any of this? The sound of distant sirens sliced through the tension, and Lydia's face paled. We don't have time. I can help you find her, but you must trust me. Her gaze darted around, eyes filled with urgency. They'll be here soon. We have to move. Nathaniel's thoughts spun wildly. Could he trust her? Every instinct screamed to be cautious, yet the thought of his wife trapped in the middle of this darkness fueled his resolve. He felt the fire rekindle within him, a fierce determination sparked. Lead the way. She nodded, urgency tightening her features. As they turned to run, they spotted shadows emerging from the alley across the street. Dark figures, cloaked in menace, advanced with purpose. Go! Now! Lydia shouted, shoving Nathaniel and the blue-eyed man ahead of her. They took off, heartbeats matching the rhythm of their hurried steps, the city blurred around them as they raced down narrow streets lined with forgotten memories. They dodged into a side alley, where the stench of garbage mixed with the sweetness of desperation. Where do we go? Nathaniel yelled, trying to keep his voice steady. East, towards the docks. It's south, the last place anyone would think to look. Lydia urged, glancing back nervously, the sound of footsteps echoed ominously in the distance. Nathaniel's chest tightened as he rounded a corner, memories of warmth, laughter, and love flashing through his mind. What if he never saw his wife again? Stay close. The blue-eyed man shouted, but Nathaniel could hardly hear him over the pounding of his own pulse. They sprinted onward, fear propelling them faster than they had ever run before. Nathaniel's thoughts tumbled in chaotic spirals. What awaited them at the docks? Could it lead him to her? What price would they pay to find the truth? As they reached the waterfront, a chilling realization crept over him. The dock was eerily quiet, the waves lapping against the posts like unsure whispers. Here. Lydia pointed, desperation etched on her face. But just as they approached a rusted old shipping container, a piercing scream shattered the silence. It was a sound that pulled at Nathaniel's very soul, sending icy fear coursing through him. "No!" he yelled, racing towards the sound, heart in his throat, knowing that time was slipping away. Would he find his wife? Or were they too late to save her from the shadows? As they braced for the worst, Nathaniel knew one thing: everything was about to change. As Nathaniel raced towards the source of the scream, his heart hammered in his chest like a war drum. Each step felt heavier, the weight of dread anchoring his feet to the ground like lead. The old shipping container loomed before him, dark and foreboding, its rusted edges sharp against the backdrop of the flickering streetlight. "Wait! Nathaniel!" Lydia shouted behind him, but he couldn't stop. He pushed through the tangled knots of fear and adrenaline. He had to know what had happened. He couldn't be too late. That he rounded the corner, breath hitching in his throat as he spotted a figure crumpled on the damp ground, shadows falling across her face. "Elena?" he gasped, recognizing the familiar outline of his wife. She was hunched over, a soft whimper escaping her lips as she clutched her arm. Dark red droplets pooled on the ground beneath her. "Get away from her!" Nathaniel yelled, feeling raw fury clench his gut. The blue-eyed man lurched to his side, fists raised and eyes darting around for any signs of danger. "Lydia, what is going on?" he panted, struggling to keep his focus on where he stood. He could barely hear her reply over the chaotic thud of his heart. "Stay alert. We're not alone," she warned, her voice straining as she scanned the surroundings. Elena looked up, her face pale and streaked with shock. Nathaniel, her voice trailed off, filled with both relief and terror. I thought I'd never see you again." I'm here." He knelt beside her, taking in the sight of bruised skin and blood-stained clothes. Fear coiled around him like a serpent. "Who did this to you? What happened?" Before she could answer, Lydia pulled Nathaniel back, her grip firm and insistent. "It's not safe. They'll come back." "Who?" Nathaniel demanded, fury and frustration boiling over. "Who did this to her?" Lydia hesitated. "The ones who want what you carry. They think your wife knows where it is." The word slammed into Nathaniel like a punch. "What are you talking about? What do I carry?" He turned to Elena, desperation clawing at him. "Tell me." She winced, glancing between Lydia and Nathaniel. "It's about the project, the initiative. We were onto something big." Her eyes gleamed with unshed tears. "They came for it. I was trying to protect it." Lydia's sharp intake of breath stopped her mid-sentence. "We can't stay here. We're exposed." Suddenly, a low growl reverberated from the shadows, and Nathaniel spun around, heart pounding. Figures emerged, their silhouettes sharp and menacing against the dark water. They advanced slowly, a deliberate stroll that sent icy dread racing through Nathaniel's veins. "Time's up," one of them sneered, revealing a menacing grin. "You should have stayed hidden, Nathaniel. What do you want?" he shouted, raw emotion spilling over, the urgency mounting like an avalanche. "We want what you've been carrying all along. Your life has been built around the belief of keeping it from us. You'll find nothing here." Nathaniel snapped back defiantly, though doubt seeped in with each passing moment. Lydia tugged at his arm. "We have to move. Trust me. Stay low." Just as they began to retreat, another scream pierced the air. This time it was deeper, more agonizing. A voice he recognized, coming from one of the dark figures. "Help me." "Who?" Nathaniel spun again, eyes wide. The shadows whispered among themselves, and the lead figure stepped forward. The shock of recognition rocked Nathaniel back on his heels. "Dad?" The words hung in the air like a noose, tightening around Nathaniel's throat. What was his father doing here? How did he fit into this twisted nightmare? Get away from him. Lydia pushed Nathaniel aside as chaos unfolded around them. All was spiraling out of control as Nathaniel's heart dropped into his stomach. Shut up. The men shouted, rushing toward the group, knives glinting in the dim light. Nathaniel's world tilted. It was all coming together and unraveling at once, a kind of sick puzzle he never wanted to solve. Run! Nathaniel screamed, grabbing Elena and dragging her along, but as they turned to flee, the realization struck. Like thunder. Would they be running into a trap or out of the fire? As they dashed down the dock, the looming question hung in the air: how could they possibly survive when the enemies were closing in, and betrayal loomed closer than ever? Nathaniel's heart raced, fear coursing through him as chaos erupted around them. He could feel the tremors of panic coursing through his veins, threading through every emotion. Elena's hand in his brought him some sense of steadiness, yet it felt fragile, like a gossamer thread in a storm. Follow me. Lydia urged, her voice strong yet laced with urgency. They sprinted down the dock, shadows swirling, drawing closer. Nathaniel's mind raced with possibilities. Who had betrayed them? Could it be someone close? His father's appearance gnawed at him, leaving a bitter taste of betrayal smoldering in his chest. Why was he here? What did he know? Over there. Lydia pointed towards an old warehouse at the edge of the dock, its silhouette towering against the night sky. They barreled inside, the door creaking ominously as they slipped through. Nathaniel's breath echoed in the hollow space, every sound amplified. They were so exposed. The scent of salt and musty wood mixed with that biting tension that screamed for action. They turned to face each other, breathless and wild-eyed. Are we safe? Elena whispered, clutching her arm, blood still seeping from the wound. Nathaniel hated the sight of her hurt. We need to patch you up. Just hang on. Can you walk? She nodded, but looked far from sure. Lydia's eyes darted around the room, assessing the shadows and the potential threats lurking behind every corner. We can't stay long, she urged, squinting as she peered through the cracked windows. They'll be looking for us. Looking for me, Nathaniel muttered. The realization dripped down heavy like rain on a clogged roof. This was about him, about the secrets he didn't know existed. What's in my past that could cost us so much? He asked, meeting Lydia's gaze. With a deep breath, she hesitated, the shadows shifting around them. The information your wife uncovered relates to an initiative that could bring down powerful enemies. Your family has been part of something bigger, Nathaniel. Something dark. Confusion clouded his mind. Why didn't anyone tell me? Because they thought you'd be safer not knowing. Her voice trembled slightly, filled with urgency. But it's deeper than you think. Your father, he's involved. They are all involved. Shock ripped through him like lightning. You mean, my father was part of this? He knows everything? Yes, Lydia replied, glancing nervously at the door. But trust me, we need to focus on you and Elena right now. We have to get out of here and make a plan. Just then, a loud crash reverberated through the building, and Nathaniel's heart leapt into his throat. They're here. He gasped, adrenaline surging. Go! Lydia shouted, motioning towards a small side door. I'll hold them off. Get to the van behind the warehouse. No. Nathaniel shook his head. You'll be in danger. Do you want your family to survive? She grabbed his arm, staring straight into his eyes with fierce determination. Fight for them. Get out of here. With a lump in his throat, he nodded. Pressing his lips together, he yanked Elena closer, drawing strength from their connection. Stay behind me, he instructed, his protective instincts firing up. As they crept towards the side door, Nathaniel stole one last glance at Lydia, her resolve haunting yet empowering. The gunfire that erupted felt like a distant echo, jarring and raw. It ignited a fierce rage within him. Trust me. She shouted as he stepped outside. They were met by the cold rush of night air, the anticipation of freedom tinged with desperation. The van sat half hidden in the shadows, its engine muttering like a contented beast. They dashed towards it, fear propelling them forward. "Get in," Nathaniel urged, throwing open the door. He climbed into the driver's seat, adrenaline racing wildly. Before he could catch his breath, Elena clambered in beside him. He glanced quickly over his shoulder, and his heart sank as he saw dark figures lumbering from the warehouse's depths. "Drive!" Elena screamed, her voice cutting through the chaos like an alarm. He turned the ignition, the engine sputtering like a sick animal before roaring to life. He peeled away from the dock, heart pounding against his ribs. As they sped down the empty streets, Nathaniel's thoughts spiraled: his father, the dark secrets, the men who hunted them. What was lurking behind every corner of this treacherous web? Elena gripped his arm, her touch grounding him as they flew into the night. In the blur of passing streetlights, he felt a fragile thread of hope igniting anew. They could find a way out of this, he thought fiercely. They had to. "Where do we go now?" Elena asked, her voice steadier. "Somewhere safe. Somewhere we can figure all of this out," he replied, voice tightening with determination. "We need to find Lydia. We owe it to her and to ourselves to find the truth." As the chaos of the city faded behind them, Nathaniel promised himself one thing: they would unravel this web of deception, reclaim their lives, and confront the shadows that haunted them. It was time to face the truth, chase the shadows down, and emerge into the light. It was time for the past to be unburdened and for the future to be reclaimed. Now, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that will blow your mind. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and show your support for these thrilling tales. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this epic conclusion. What do you think will happen next? And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this jaw-dropping finale.